the AAC title bout between UCF and Tulane. Tulane at home at Yulman Stadium, laying 3.5 in the rematch. The total here is set at 56.5. UCF remains just a really difficult team to handicap. They're a bit of a mystery. They've won 4 of their last 5, but they dropped a game 17-14 to 4-7 Navy. They could play Mikey Keene, who's more of a pocket passer. They could go to John Rice Plumlee. Who knows what kind of combination they're going to go with here. But the reality is their offense is a tempo offense. They need to continue to pick up first downs. They get stronger as drives go on. They're 9th nationally in third down conversions. But in that Navy game, they went 3 for 12. So they can shoot themselves in the foot. As someone who was on the wrong side of their game against Louisville, I saw what it looks like when they can't get those, 6 to 10 play drives going. It really shows in terms of kind of being stuck in the mud, being stuck in neutral. And on the other side of thing, Tulane's offense remains white hot. I mean, the Green Waves average almost 38 points per game across their last 6. Tajay Spears has realized all of his potential. The, Louisiana-born high school, stud that they're able to keep in state. He's been on an incredible tear across that 6-game stretch as well, 144 yards per game on the ground with 9 total touchdowns. Central Florida is stout against the run, but when you look at their first matchup, they gave up big plays to Spears. He hit them with a handful of long runs in that game. The Knights are 83rd in explosiveness allowed on the ground. I think that's going to be the difference here. I'm going to go ahead with the Green Wave in the rematch, lay in 3.5. I think this number is pretty well calibrated, but I'm going to go ahead and lay it even with the hook going against me in that key number. What are your thoughts on the Knights versus the Green Wave in the Big Easy?
I went back and forth on this all week. Well, half the week until Wednesday. I think this is one of those games where if you told me I had to write up a case for Tulane, I could do it easily and make it super convincing and, be so confident in it. And if you told me I had to do the same for UCF, I could do the same. So I've kind of switched back and forth on who I like. But instead, I've settled on what's probably my best bet of the week. And I think a lot of what you just said is a good argument for me as well. I like over 56.5 because in the first meeting between these two teams, UCF won 38-31 in an absolute shootout. And they got it done by John Rice Plumlee going off for 176 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. UCF rushed for 336 yards and 4 touchdowns. They averaged 6.2 yards per carry. I don't see why that's going to be any different this time around because that's UCF's game all year. They run the football and they do it very well. They have 2 stud running backs in Isaiah Bowser and RJ Harvey, and Plumlee has been killer with his legs. They're 14th in rushing success, and this Tulane defense is 105th in line yards. They just gave up 235 yards and 3 touchdowns to a Cincinnati team that hasn't run the ball all season. So I think UCF is going to continue to get whatever they want on the ground. If they do get into situations they need to pass, we've seen Mikey Keene come in and be successful in the air. I still don't think Plumlee's that bad throwing it, but they do have that kind of ace in the hole if they get down and need to throw it. I like having that. They can bring in Keene to throw them back into a game. And you said it, this Tulane offense is just humming. Tajay Spears has been awesome. He's just, every time he touches the ball, you're like, he may take it 80 yards. Like, he's just that electric. He's that good. He's been so good down the stretch. He's just so shifty. And like you said, UCS has been good against the run on a per play basis, but they've given up big plays, which is what Spears is best at. And then Michael Pratt, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but it does in my head. He's one of those guys that's just, he's not really great at anything. And like, he's not going to put up huge numbers, and you're not really sure why, but like, he's just good at football. Like, you just watch him play and you're like, that dude's good at football. I don't know why or what it is about him. He's just good at football. He's basically the opposite of Will Levis, where Will Levis, like, cannon arm, super athletic, not good at football. Where Michael Pratt is like, okay arm, sneaky athletic, good at football. He just gets the job done. So I like having him there because we saw at Cincinnati, they needed a big play late. He came up with it. Both of these defenses have kind of slipped as the season's gone on. They're not, neither one's really playing at a peak level right now, where Tulane's offense is humming, and I still trust UCF's offense, especially on the ground. I think we see another shootout here. I'm not really sure who wins, to be honest. I think either team could win, but I think it's going to be another high-scoring, back-and-forth game. I love the over here.
And this is the fun thing about the G5, about our deep dive podcast in general. The fact that every year there's a chance for a team to have a special season. This would be the Green Wave's first conference championship since 1998, when they had Sean King and Tommy Bowden as their head coach, and Rich Rod running the offense that he would end up becoming famous for at West Virginia. So it's just fun to see a fan base really get rewarded. I think it's going to be a zoo at Yeoman Stadium in New Orleans on Saturday. So I'm pulling for the Green Wave. Also, to give them a shout out, I did call for them as a flyer at the preseason show at 35-1 to win the AAC. So I'm going to have a little hedge there as well for myself.
It also is a sense of UCF's going to be in the Big 12 next year. It's a kind of, you're fighting for the AAC, you're fighting for the G5. You can't let UCF take that AAC title up to the Big 12. You have to keep the title in the conference. So I do like that aspect of it. Like I said, I probably would lean Tulane if I had to force to play a side, but I like the over more. So I think both teams are going to be able to move the ball.